Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to 2025. And we've got an apartment tour video for you today. I know people love them, and I'm actually very close to the center of Moscow, and the building is right behind me. And I thought I'd just give you a quick walk around of the district where we are, head on inside, and let you know about the price of this apartment that I'm going to show you. Let's go. This is the building that we're going to go and see the apartment in. It's actually a series of different towers. The tallest one is 28 levels, and we're going to go to the 24th level. There is actually a sales office here. They are still selling some apartments, and there is still a few left. I will put the details of this location in a pin so you know where it is. Interestingly, I was here about 2 months ago filming, but I was on the other side of the river. At the bottom of the street there is the Moscow River, and I was outside those apartments on the other side of the river filming back, looking at this building. And the video was about old and new Moscow and how buildings like we see here on the left are getting torn down and new apartment complexes are getting built in their place. And these are very typical 9-story buildings and 5-story buildings that we see all over Russia, and how they're slowly disappearing from the skyline here in the center of Moscow, and then these very large towers are replacing them. So I'm interested in people's opinion of this, and what do you think of this idea of taking away some of the old buildings and building new ones? It'll be very interesting to read the comments and what you think of this. It's just so interesting that to get across the river, it's not that simple. They are building a new road that bypasses going the long way around, but I can't just literally walk across the river there. It's about 45 minutes by car or transport to get there. If you're watching this video and you don't know who I am, my name is Russell. I'm an Australian who lives here in Moscow, and I make videos about typical Russian life. And I like to show things like supermarkets, shopping centers, apartments, and they become very popular, some niches. And that's why I'm back to do another apartment video, and to come and see this complex as well at the same time is really interesting for me, because I get to see somewhere new and show it to you. So like I said, this is a brand new complex, and there isn't a lot of people living here yet because a lot of the apartments are still getting renovated. And the place we're going to actually go and see just got finished in the last couple of days, and we can get access to it before the cleaners come in and the keys get handed over to the owner. Just thought I'd show you someone's, I think it's a Mustang that's parked right here. Now there is actually 2 levels of underground parking below the building, and there is very little street parking, so it's interesting. The guy's parked his Mustang right there, and actually have a look at the view in the distance. You can see more apartment buildings. They're all trying to take advantage of the river views. There's actually another school just over there as well. You can see the bright colored windows, and then this lower ground floor is all commercial shops. There is only a couple of them open, and there's one interesting one which I will show you in a minute. But eventually there'll be more stores here, some cafes, hairdressers and things like that. So if you were to drive your car in, you'd come in off the street where we started the video, and then the underground parking is just there in front of us on the left-hand side. And we want to go in this entrance, and I'm going to show you this garden area in the center of the buildings. For the sake of filming, of course, I've got the doors already open, but there is actually a pin-coded security panel here to get in, and you can actually get a card that you can tap to come in as well. And then let's see this lobby area. It's actually really nice and warm here. You'll actually see they've got central heating on the wall, so it's very nice and toasty. And because we're still in the first few days of January, they've got their holiday tree up still. I'm not sure what the rule is in Russia, how soon you can remove it, or what date of the year you should take it down. And then they have concierge at all the main entrances to come into this complex area. And what I want to show you is down this corridor. Now, because this building is considered business class, they have some extra little features or nuances that you won't see in a lot of other apartments. Of course, letterboxes is very standard. However, Russians don't get mail. This is only really for bills, or the bill for the building, or the fees for maintaining the building. So these will be the elevators we're going to go up in a minute or so. But I want to show you right here. So this is actually a downstairs bathroom. Now it is a little bit dark, so just apologize for that. But I think we've all seen a toilet and bathroom before. However, it has a dog wash. So if your dog, or maybe your cat, is playing in the snow, you can come in here and rinse them off and then go up to your apartment. How handy is that? That is so nice. Coming on outside from the lobby and where the concierge was, it's actually 4 buildings that wrap around this central courtyard area or children's playground. Now the weather isn't beautiful today. It's actually not very cold, but there is still some snow on the ground. We've actually had very warm weather the last 2 weeks, so most of the snow is melted now. The actual apartment we're going to go and see is in this tower. It'll be 4 levels from the top because it's on the 24th floor. And I think you'll be quite interested or pleased with the view from the window there. There's actually a gym right here. So ideally, if you were to have kids, now depending on the size of the apartment, of course, if you got somewhere bigger in this building, kids can come out and play here. Now this is completely closed off or fenced off, and it's gated to gain entry inside. So the kids could come down and play themselves, no problems, and they could go back up to the apartment themselves. And then check out this. It's like a heavy bag for boxing. There is also some different objects or playground equipment, and this is very normal for the new build apartments here in Moscow and in other cities. I did actually make an apartment tour of my cousin's apartment in Ufa, and it wasn't too dissimilar from this, where it had this central garden area and playground. There's even a raised walkway right here. Of course, in winter it's not as beautiful as it might be in summertime. I think you get the idea of what it has. And then all of the lower ground floor will be different businesses, which you can access from your own building. For now, though, there's only a couple of them open. And the one I want to actually show you might be quite interesting as well, I think. I thought I had to include this in this video because these are actually in all of the new build apartment complexes. And this is a hardware store, and it's called House Market. And what they do is they open in one of these commercial spaces temporarily. So they normally are only here for perhaps 2 years at the most. And as people are building their apartments or doing the remodeling, you don't have to go all the way across the city to another store. You can just walk into a shop like this, and they have all of the essentials. You can see all the plumbing and air conditioning. They've got whole shelves of screws and nuts and bolts. You can actually buy it by weight as well. And this is all of the absolute basic things you need for building an apartment. They've also got paint, some cement. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got the pipes up there for the underfloor heating or for the kitchen. They've got some stuff for plumbing, so if you want to do your sink, and then even some basic tools as well. So this place will only be here in this building now for I think another 3 or 6 months, because a lot of the apartments are already sold and a lot of them are now in the final construction or remodeling phase. These are the pipes for your kitchen. You can see even all of the fittings as well. So what will happen is at some point these people that run this shop will actually close this and go to another building that's just opened, or just handing over the keys to the owners of the apartments, and they'll set up shop there, exactly like you see. And they just do it completely basic. Some shelves, one of everything, or two of everything, and that's all you need. And how handy is this? If you're buying an unfinished apartment, you can just come in or pop downstairs and grab something, and you don't have to go to a bigger market somewhere else or one of the big box hardware stores. You can just come right in here. From this upper deck here, you can actually see the Moscow River, and actually even the jetty that I was standing on the other side of the river when I made that video back about 2 months ago. And they've got this playground on this lower level as well. And they've even got a slide going down the side of the little mountain that they built. This is so nice. I can imagine this in summer being very crowded. There is actually a couple of kids playing over there, so I'm just trying to be polite and not get them in the video. The one thing they always open very early is the pickup points. This is Ozon. So if you do online shopping, similar to Amazon, they'll deliver it to a pickup point. So you actually use that as the address and you pick up your items from there, rather than it coming to your own address and then you not being home. But this garden is very nice. As I pan around, I know these apartments aren't going to be for everybody, and a lot of people perhaps live in more traditional houses. However, here in Moscow, they're very much normal and very typical. And it's all a matter of the comfort that you want to live in, or the location, or what's the surrounding areas and immediate things nearby. The actual nearest train station from here is about 10 minutes walk to Shelepisha station, and you can then get the metro from there. You could actually walk down to the river and get the electric river tram, and I'll put a link to that video if you want to check that out. So I think it might be interesting to watch if you haven't seen it before. It's the world's first year-round electric river tram, which is very unique. Coming in from outside, the one thing you can hear is the fan running for the heater. It's a little bit noisy, but it's very warm and toasty in this lobby. And I need to find the elevator to go up. There is another lobby here, and then there would be a concierge right there on the desk. Beautiful Christmas tree. I think all of the entrances have the Christmas trees, and the elevator is right here. And we're going to head up to the 24th floor. Because quite a lot of the apartments are still under renovation, they actually put some padding in the elevators. So if you're going to come in here with some extra items for your apartment, and then at a point where a lot of the apartments are finished, they'd actually remove all of this. This is actually branding from the developer of the building. So that's why this is all here. It gives you a bit of an explanation of if you want to bring things to your apartment. Certain elevators are for freight, and then some are for passengers as well. All right, we made it up to the 24th floor. From here, I just need to figure out which way to go. You'll see again all of this protective material for some of the apartments. Someone's even put it over the entire door here. And I just need to find the right door and head on inside. So we made it down to the apartment door, and some of the floor here has been removed already. But being that it's new, you can still see the paneling up. And these doors are very nice. It's a different color for each apartment door. The company that built this apartment and did all of the interior fit out, this is their company right on the door here. It's very common when you go to apartments that you see the company's advertising somewhere. To make it easier, I've actually unlocked the apartment door. Of course, keys right here. And because this apartment is going to be cleaned in the next day or so, I've been given permission to keep my shoes on. Now, of course, it's customary that you take it off when you come into a Russian house. Now, what you'll see there in the distance is a very bright light, but that's going to be something quite amazing in a minute. So just looking around, the one thing I will tell you is the doors are very high and the ceilings are much higher than standard. And then coming on inside, so we've got stone or tile flooring in the entrance. Now this is a studio apartment. Just close the door behind me to be polite. So of course this is a one single room apartment. So in the entrance right here, you've got the electric box, or the meter box, we like to call it. Down here is the things for the internet. And then there is a wardrobe right here, so you can put all your clothes, or at least your jackets anyway. Now they are still doing the air conditioning. This needs to be put into a air conditioning plant room. And because this has just been finished, there's a couple of little things that need to get done and dusted, as I like to say. I like the black fridge. Does anybody own a black fridge? Of course, it very much matches the design of this apartment. So with the studio style apartments, the small kitchenette, but everything that you need, sink, okay, cupboards. This is very detailed, of course. And then you've got a 2-burner hot plate. Quite a few of my videos, people have commented that I didn't point out the hot plate. There is actually also a fan right here, or extractor fan. And then cupboards, you can put your plates and cups. And then there is a dining room table. And when I came in ahead of time to look, I was thinking 2 chairs is enough, but there's 3. So I think you can invite friends over. And then this very large TV, which is super nice. And this big comfy sofa. I've actually been sitting on it already. And the fact that this is a brand new place, everything is absolutely brand new. So when this apartment was built and constructed, they actually get it fully furnished. So everything that you see, there is actually bed sheets that need to go on the bed. And then this is what sells this apartment. This view right here. Now this is the micro district where we started downstairs. And you can see all of the buildings that make up this same micro district. And then the playground on the street level down there. And then that is Moscow City right in front of us. Just off a little bit further in the distance beyond these older apartments. You can see the skyscrapers of Moscow City. If you're worried about ventilation and heating, so there is actually underfloor heating, and then there's a ducting here, which is how they get the air conditioning, or the hot or cold heating, if you like. There is a radiator here as well, which is very hot. Actually, it's hot to the touch, I like to say. And then, because of course this is a floor-to-ceiling window, you can't open the windows entirely, but you can open them just like this. And this is very common in Russia. You have the windows open, even if it's cold outside, to give you some fresh air. And the bed right here. I like this paneling on the wall. Some bed lights, and then the wardrobe on the opposite side. It's a little bit hard, of course, when you come to studio apartments to try to give you that feeling of how big it is, but I think it's more than possible. That TV is very large, and I think very nice. Switch all the lights off. So the wardrobes, these are very standard wardrobes. Plenty of space. You can see the bed sheets right there. So they'll get put on. What will happen is the cleaners will come in and do the final clean, and then the owner will come for inspection, and the keys will be given over then to the owner. Let's have a look at the bathroom. This black finish everywhere, and then I've got this all black interior bathroom, of course white sink and toilets. So in another video that I did, someone mentioned about the washing machine. So the washing machine is mounted into the wall right there, and it can be slid forward and backwards out of this compartment where is the sink. There's the nice light up mirror. And a very nice large shower cubicle. And then the actual draining floor. I don't know what they call this. I was trying to figure it out. Heated towel rail, which is always nice. This is a switch on and off version where it's plugged in. These are very common in Russia. And then there is actually a separate hot water system. Now the actual water coming into the building will be hot or cold, of course, naturally. But at certain times during summer, they switch off the hot water for maintenance of the pipes. So it's generally necessary to have a separate hot water system. This won't be running year round. It'll only be for a few months of the year or even a few days or weeks. But they've got it there built in. There is meant to be a storage cupboard right here, but it's coming, I think, tomorrow or the next day, if I'm not mistaken. And that's all you need in a bathroom. What do you think of this big shower? And this is very common as well, to have a washing machine in the bathroom, because there's not separate bathroom spaces or separate laundry spaces at least. So this is very common. I just want to have a look at that view one more time, because when I first walked in here, that's the first thing that you look at. You don't look at the rest of the apartment, you just walk straight to this very large floor-to-ceiling window. Of course, you can see across to the other building. That's going to happen in a lot of apartments in Russia. But that view over to Moscow City, it's not the best weather today, but you can imagine a blue sky day. It would be absolutely beautiful. Okay everybody, so I thought I'd come back downstairs and go through the prices of the studio apartment that we came to see. Now these prices are current as of today, so depending on when you're watching this video, this apartment is actually going to be currently letted out or for rent. As soon as the cleaners are finished and the keys are handed over to the owner, it'll be as a monthly rental. But I thought it might be interesting to talk about the price of it if you wanted to buy that apartment, because there is apartments for rent in this building at the moment. Now the rental of that place, now keep in mind it was a 23 square meter studio. It's fully furnished. Everything that you saw in the studio is exactly what you'd rent out. You'd get a set of keys. You just need to bring your luggage, some shampoo, some knives and forks, and some food for the fridge. And that's it. You won't need to buy any other furniture, of course. It's a very small apartment. So the rental for it would be 100,000 rubles per month. Now I'm going to put up a caption here or here. You're going to see that pop up right now. And if you want to convert that, you'll see also 983 US dollars per month, 945 euros per month, and then 805 British pounds. I generally use those three exchanges because they're the most commonly used, and also that's the greatest audience, you guys watching. So that's a monthly rental, 4 calendar weeks. You would also have to pay additional for electricity and water, which for a studio apartment you're looking at around about 30 US dollars per month, and it won't vary. It might go up a little bit for winter because you're paying for heating, but roughly $30 a month for your utilities for the apartment. That's all you're paying. If you were going to get Wi-Fi in the apartment, you can get it for around about $7 per month, depending on the carrier that you use, and that's it. Now, if you wanted to buy that studio, as it is right now, it would sell for 15 million rubles. So exactly furnished, you'd get a set of keys, you give the money, and that apartment is yours. It would work out at 147,000 US dollars, 141,000 euros, and 120,000 British pounds. So at the moment though, it's as a rental, and I got a chance to come and see it a couple of days before it gets handed over. All that needed to be done from there was some cleaning of the floor and dusting of the shelves, put the sheets on the bed. They had to do that air conditioning unit, you saw that, and that's it. So let me know what you think of the price of that apartment. Now the main thing to remember is we're literally walking distance from the Moscow River. The nearest train station is about a 10-minute walk away. Moscow City you could see in the distance from the window, so it's all about location. And not everybody's going to like a studio apartment, that's up to you of course. So let me know in the comments what you think of the prices and how it stacks up against something where you live in the world. As I head on out from the apartment complex, I really hope you've enjoyed this video and seeing this complex and the studio apartment and the grounds right here. It's really very nice. It's a really very nice location. The fact that you're so close to the river and close to public transport. You're not that far from Moscow city. Of course, if you had a car, you can park in the lower ground floor of the building. It's very quiet right now because it's not the nicest weather. And maybe not all the kids want to come out and play when it's like this. So I can imagine in summertime it being a lot busier here and more crowded with families and kids and things like that. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That'll be nice. Let me know, could you live here? Could you live in this building? What's important is that apartment that I showed you was a studio apartment. They do have in this building 1-room apartments, 2-room apartments. The largest one they have is 100 square meters, which would be roughly a 3-room or 4-room apartment, depending on how they divided it up. So you could get a nice family apartment here, or a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment, even if you were to live alone. This entire complex is not just one size of apartment. That's really important. You can buy something as big or as little as you like. However, what I'm showing you is a 23 square meter studio, and I'm very fortunate to get access to some of these places. It's not as easy as I'd like. I'd love to make 5 videos in 5 different apartments here, but it's a matter of finding people who will give me access to them and let me basically walk in their apartment. So yeah, thumbs up if you liked it. Post a comment, let me know what you think. Do you want to see more apartment videos? Could you live here? That's the important question. Post a comment about that. If you want to follow me on Telegram, the link to the channel is right here. I post lots of photos all the time, every day when I'm out and about. And then if you want to see an old video, I'll post a video for you right here, and you can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.